Crypto adoption around the world is happening. Legal frameworks are being forged and constructed, and digital trade laws will change, and XDC network folks will be the frontrunner in this change. Look at this Cryptonaire these days, always active. Digital trade law adoption progress around the world. Folks, I've told you time and again, XDC does not want to overtake or consolidate its presence in one region, one city, one state. It wants progress around the world. Look at this. We're talking about Belize, MLETR adopted, Commonwealth legislation based on the MLETR. It is being drafted. And folks, let me add one thing. People might ask, why is it relevant to XDC? Folks, this is relevant to XDC network because in each area, in each region where these compliant acts are being passed or compliant frameworks are being talked about, debated, or even applied, XDC network will have it really easy to function and maneuver there, folks, because it is compliant, it is MLETR compliant, it is regulatory compliant, it wants to do everything by the law, by the book. And when these sort of regulations take place, XDC is there. Like, look at this, SBI, XDC. Japan, the legislation on EBL, electronic bills of lading, by the way, and e-warehouse receipts is being drafted. And you know XDC's presence in Japan is strong, and it will have its presence in every place that has these frameworks. Look at this. Australia, simplified trade system confirmed to adopt MLETR in January 2024 with expected enactment by June 30, 2026. Pardon me. And XDC has its presence in each region where these acts are. Singapore, MLETR adopted. Thailand, legislation based on the MLETR has been drafted. Awesome. Look at this video over here I wanted to share with you.
All right, let me get into, for those that aren't aware, because obviously a new audience here from the I Trust Eyes on the XDC network. Billy, you're probably best served to give maybe a plain English version of what XDC network is, does best, or et cetera. And yeah.
Sure. Well, I guess for those that don't know me, then I'll let you know. My name is Billy Siebel, and I'm Executive Director of the XDC Foundation. The XDC network, as Travis had said, we launched mainnet back in 2019, and we have focused primarily on enterprise adoption through trade finance. That's been a lot of what we have really been kind of building the rails for. And as time has gone on, that's expanded into today what people call real world assets or RWAs. And so we have been very focused on bringing off-chain assets on-chain, and people having the opportunity to not just operate within the crypto sphere as far as crypto assets, but to be able to look at real assets that are generating real yield from very tried and true investment strategies that have been off-chain for many, many years. So in a lot of cases, I think if you want to go back and look at what the ethos, and kind of it's funny, you're talking about in the long term, people don't really want to self-custody. I agree with that. I think for the majority of people would be better off probably not self-custodying. That's really the truth. As it is in the US, it's the system is very good for banking overall. Historically, I actually heard somebody say that more people have lost money through self-custody than they have in the banking system. Of course, that may change in waves, but the bottom line is we look at it in terms of people wanting to come into the or what is blockchain and crypto today. The reality is there's a convergence between traditional finance and digital assets, and we think that this is the intersection of moving value. And so bottom line is we want people to be able to operate on a network where businesses can operate, they can borrow money, and they're able to buy the t-shirts that they need, being made halfway across the world, bring them to wherever they are, get them paid for, and then, sell them within their market. And that's really what we're just trying to do, help businesses do that.
I want to ask Travis just briefly, because I have not had the chance to have you on here, and then we'll move right back into iTrust. For Billy mentioned just kind of the moving target always within this space with how quickly things are getting adopted. Obviously, from the institutional DeFi standpoint, which is kind of the role you're taking within the XDC ecosystem now, I would imagine that's probably a pretty interesting position to be in with all the, I mean, literally on a daily basis, you can go and look and there's probably like 10 pieces of news, whereas, a handful of years ago, there was maybe one every 6 months. But it probably presents an interesting opportunity where it's like, okay, which path do we really want to carve out here? Because there's so many options at this point in time. iTrust that we're talking about today is literally just one of many things we're talking about. So Travis, just briefly, if you could talk about kind of the opportunity you're witnessing from the institutional DeFi standpoint, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely heated up significantly as we've seen over the past year. Institutions, enterprises, they're all looking at the space, whether it's digital ledger technology of just improving their tech stack, or it's, and then that's obviously where we could stand up the bill laden digitization side. Then there's the tokenization side, which is obviously the transfer of value. So we've seen a significant increase in interest there of how we can tokenize, whether it's RWAs, whether it's equities, and bring that on chain. Naturally, what I really would equate all of this to is capital efficiency. The big institutions and corporates are seeing that, this is just the evolution of technology, really. Like it really comes down to that simple as it. The nice part about it, as Billy mentioned, is really a convergence of not just technology, but it's obviously an upgrade to the financial system, which is kind of happening, coinciding with this. And I would say we're seeing that the higher yields, the higher returns, the ability to take like your cloud environment and upgrade it to a digital ledger technology is really where we're having these conversations with large corporates, private equity, hedge funds that are looking to get into the space, that see the opportunity to get involved. And then, of course, we have the whole DeFi market where this intersects, which, institutional DeFi as a title was kind of an oxymoron over a year ago, right? But like institutional DeFi really makes a lot of sense now, because it's ultimately that intersection where the institutional corporates are able to bring those assets into DeFi, and that's where we can create markets, and that capital efficiency factor makes a big part of that equation naturally.
100%. I watched like a clip of the head of, I forget what his role was, but it was one of the big wigs at DTCC, and mentioning yesterday, with the kind of the evolution of blockchain and distributed ledger, we could have either looked at it, and he's talking about from DTCC's stance. I think it was at SmartCon, the Chainlink's SmartCon. He said we could either look at it as something that could be catastrophic and competing with what we're doing, or we could look at it as, which I think what we've seen all these big entities doing, we could look at it as kind of an update or an upgrade to our tooling that we have. And I think that that's what we're seeing, is that they're kind of looking at it as just an upgrade to the system. One thing that we have seen change over the years, which I think is nice, is kind of the ability to onboard users. The user experience of blockchain and distributed ledger has gotten better, but I still don't think we're anywhere close to, I think, where we need to be for kind of mass adoption. That being said, I think when you look at a platform like iTrust, Jared, your user flow is much more accustomed to, or much more in alignment with what people are used to. Here's my account. I get to do things in my account. I don't have to, give a drop of blood and write down all these things and keep it in a piece of paper in a safe somewhere that hopefully nothing happens. Talk about what that process is for a user coming onto iTrust, and is it different than what they would expect in?
Folks, simply put, XDC's role in trade finance, real world asset tokenization, is huge in a nutshell, period. Be it trade finance, be it finance in general, how enterprises are approaching ledger technology, it is huge, folks. XDC will be there for cost efficiency, for lowering the barriers, for decreasing the gap, the $1 trillion trade finance gap, And it will do that transparently and by connecting these different networks and chains in the process. Look at this. The 21 shares XDC network ETP offers investors a liquid way to integrate ETP, which tracks XDC into their portfolios, allowing them to benefit from XDC's role in advancing blockchain powered global trade. Look at this. Yeah. Global Crypto Classification Standard, 21 shares, XDCN, 21 shares, XDC Network ETP. Fact sheet as of 31st October 2025. So let's check this out. Investment objective. The 21 shares XDC Network ETP, the ticker is XDCN, offers investors a liquid way to integrate ETP, which tracks XDC into their portfolios, allowing them to benefit from XDC's role in advancing blockchain powered global trade. So, from this, we can see that XDC's role in this new global trade system, folks, this is real. This is legit. This is not some smoke and mirrors, folks. Huge institutions are being a part of this change. There are partnerships, people are now believers basically. Obviously any project, any business can survive or it can fail, but the trajectory of XDC network, folks, it is really good for this point. At this point at least, XDC network is built for trade finance, enabling asset tokenization, supply chain finance, and seamless integration with legacy systems. Folks, now this last point is extremely important. Some people wanted this industry, the crypto industry, to totally destroy, disrupt the legacy systems, the status quo of finance and everything. But folks, we have taken decades, centuries to get here, not even decades. And to disrupt it so abruptly, it can create a mess. You cannot give a parallel system, so you can make this system a bit better. You can integrate with the system, decrease the gaps, decrease the flaws, and then simply provide good services in the process, folks. So this is awesome. So this is what projects like XDC want to do. Look at this XDC community. You know what time is it? We are back at it with another week in review. I really like these reviews as to this gives us an insight and a summary of what XDC has done this week, and they are constantly making progress. Look at this. XDC joins AIMA, capital efficiency in blockchain. Bricken integrates XDC network. Let's check this out. XDC joins the AIMA. Just a moment. Yeah. Billy Sabel presented at the Silicon Valley November Summit. Bricken integrates XDC network. The RWA Accelerator Cohort 2 participant Bricken has integrated its tokenization framework with XDC. Capital efficiency in blockchain as part of Cohort 2 in the XDC RWA Accelerator. Zinfin USA of XDC Foundation gave a presentation on driving capital efficiency in blockchain at the Plug and Play TC Silicon Valley November Summit. This is awesome, folks. This is Billy Adams, by the way, Zinfin USA. Executive Director of the XDC Foundation. Awesome. Look at the followers, folks. This is great. 10.3k followers. So this is always good when a team member has a good following. This obviously works well with the marketing. XDC Network now has formal representation within the Alternative Investment Management Association, AIMA, the world's largest membership association for alternative investment managers. Let's check this one out. AIMA represents the alternative investment industry globally. We have 2,100 plus corporate members in over 60 countries, managing over $4 trillion in assets. I mean, this is awesome. This is great. XDC folks, in terms of price action as well, the entire market was recently. I think it has held its own to a certain extent. Yeah, it also bled, it was bleeding for a while, but now you can see that it is slowly, gradually rising. The volume is rising. The price in the last 24 hours up 4.95%. Look at this. Word Capital and UISA have completed the first issuance of their new partnership on the XDC network, kicking off a multi-year strategy to tokenize $1 billion in Brazilian real-world assets, folks. Brazil is part of BRICS, and you know that it is a developing country, and this is really good when XDC tries to partner with governments and different states. This is always great. Look at this. Policy and influence, tokenization, and blockchain solutions impact countless industries. As policy, legal frameworks, and real world standards take shape in jurisdictions worldwide, the XDC community actively ensures XDC Network has a seat at the table. Look at this. ITFA doesn't get bigger than these folks. MiCA Crypto Alliance, European laws are being forged. Digital Pound Foundation, TFD Initiative, Canadian Blockchain Consortium, the Digital Chamber, Blockchain Association Singapore. By the way, folks, Singapore is also actively working on digital assets. I really like what Singapore is doing, what Australia is doing. So the areas, this is why we're saying the adoption is global, because the areas that are undergoing good legal frameworks for digital assets, XDC Network is apparently their Digital Economy Council of Australia. By the way, look at this. XDC has held up remarkably well in the current market conditions. Okay. Unpopular crypto opinion: while everyone is chasing Pepe and Doge, trillions in real money will flow to the boring, compliant chains like XDC. By the way, folks, I've seen some exchange listing being hinted by the XDC community. Look at this. So this is risk. Get ready, guys. XDC is listing on MGBX Global Exchange soon, but the team of XDC says that exchange listings hasn't been their priority, although this is always welcomed, but they say that their priority is developing behind the scene development partnerships and providing real world utility. But we welcome new listings. Look at this. LA token, XDC will be trading on LA token soon, LA token basically. So yeah, this is really good. The XDC trade flow, the infrastructure indeed is being formed, folks. This is awesome. This is John Lewis. When real world utility meets global liquidity, adoption becomes unstoppable, folks. Do you think that the adoption of XDC network is unstoppable? And do you think that adoption around the world is happening? I would really like your opinions. Do hit the comment box below and let the community know. Anyways, guys, this was it for the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification icon if you're interested in utility coins and potential gems. And you can also support the channel by checking out Patreon by following the link in the description box below. Until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone.